Hello there, YouTube. This is Crazy Cool New Yorker coming at you today. And as you can see, it's a beautiful day. We actually had some rain all weekend, so I'm just trying to catch a little riding. They said some passing showers here in the Hudson Valley area. They're either putting up a carnival or taking one down. Hopefully they're putting it up. So I'm watching the skies and trying not to ride where it's going to get too nasty out. So I make sure I just keep a watchful eye out. The other day I got caught. Now the newsman said clear skies, beautiful 85 degrees. So I go out, I ride about maybe 3 hours away from the house, and as I'm coming back, it starts to pour. I was like, oh, great. Doggone weatherman. That's the only job you can ever have, that you can always get the weather wrong and you never get penalized for it. Never. They just blame it on the, Mother Nature and the machine, and then they report it for the next day. But the reason why I'm starting my little vlog today is basically just keeping your rider's skills tight, up to par. That's even for driving, but more so for riding, so because we're so exposed to the elements here. And what brought this conversation or this topic up was one of the gentlemen in my area. He has a bike, and he said, I noticed the other day you was like, you had all the cones out, and you was driving back and forth around the cones. What were you practicing for? Some type of meet or tournament or something? And I said, oh no, I just kind of like to keep my rider skills sharp. I kind of do it before, on the weekdays when I'm not able to go out, or if I haven't ridden for a while, especially once I put the bike up for the winter storage. I always, before I get back out on the road, I always keep I practice. I sign up for another advanced rider class to learn something new, and I also practice in my area. I'm kind of lucky where I live in a cul-de-sac area. Not too many cars come down there, so I can lay the cones down and drive back and forth and make my errors. If not, then I drive down to the local supermarket there and just practice back and forth. But he asked me, do you do this like every year? And I said, yeah, I only had this bike for 2 years. But I explained to him, when I had my sports bike, I used to practice that all the time. It was such a tremendous punch on that roll-on power. You have to know how to do it, or you could really get yourself into a bad situation very quickly. So that's what got me into it. Because I remember when I took my MSC course, the instructors were saying, you can never have enough practice. And I thought, he was saying like, oh man, you got to come back every time and spend more money. But it was like, nah, we do give advanced riders course, but you should practice on your own and try to sharpen what you learn. Because we all create bad habits when we ride, basically. It's when we're behind the wheel of a car as well. You think you're doing something, correctly, and it's actually the wrong thing. So it's good that you practice and get your skills up. I think I took 2 defensive riders class this summer, and then I did a whole lot of practicing on my own in the parking lot and in my area. And what I basically do is the slow maneuvers. You really don't have to practice driving fast too tough, because the speed limit, you're supposed to do the speed limit, but more so people drop their bikes trying to do a U-turn or turn the bike around, or riding with a passenger or at an intersection, unfortunately, or even emergency stop. They just don't have enough skills at it, because How often do you have an emergency stop on a bike? You know, you pray that it's not too often, but when you do, you want to know the mechanics of your bike. You want to, especially if you don't have ABS braking, you want to feel that threshold braking right away. Now, if you have ABS braking, they say you just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and you know, let the ABS do its thing. So what I do is, if I haven't ridden for a while, like I said, a perfect example is when I had my surgery and I was stuck in bed for a little bit, for about a month. So I basically didn't ride for about 2.5 almost, yeah, about 2.5 months. Now my skill did not diminish, but because I was still recovering, you know, I said, you know, I feel like I'm at a little handicap. Let me stay close to the house, close to my area, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the bike up, the cones, and I'm going to practice some U-turns and some emergency braking. I had my wife sit on the bike so I can feel how she would feel with the weight shift. I did a lot. I mean, some weaving in and out. The best that I could do. I mean, you know, I like Ride Like a Pro. I watch his videos a lot, and then whatever exercise he has them doing there, then I'll get up and go outside and set up the diagram. Actually, a lot of the courses I can really do with confidence, especially when you're turning. You have to turn around in a street that's kind of like a two-way street, but very narrow. I have good confidence that I can make that turn. And watching Ride Like a Pro influenced me to get a bigger bike, because I was used to a sports bike, and I was kind of looking at bikes in the 500-pound range area. I was a little too nervous about getting these big, heavy bikes. But Ride Like a Pro 2, the gentleman who does it, showed this young lady who, I think she was like 21 years old, but she was maybe 4'9", 5'1". She was riding a big bike. I mean, she got on a Goldwing that she never got on before, and did one of the advanced courses, and she only rode it for like 5 minutes before, you know, just to get the feel of the bike, and then she was out. I was like, Dad, you know, if this young lady can do it and she has no fear of big bikes, then why should I have any fear as well? So that helped me, you know, persuade me rather to go for the larger size bike. This is a 750-pound, 740-pound bike, dry weight. Once you throw the fluids in and then the rider, I'm sure I'm tipping the scales of almost a 900-pound bike. So I knew, if you know, that I can handle it. So that's why I actually, you know, practice. And I watch his videos. I get up in the morning, or maybe on a Saturday and a Sunday, and I pop it in the Blu-ray, or I'll throw it in the computer, and I'll watch it. And I pick up something that maybe I experienced while riding in the street, and then I'll really practice it a little bit more if I had a difficulty doing something. Like, you know, when you come to almost like a stop, and then you take off right away without putting your feet down. That took some practice, and that was a lot of confidence building there. But I did learn a lot, and I still am watching his videos. I think his videos are very educational and very helpful. So if you have a lot of new riders out there, or even seasoned riders, if you've never seen Ride Like a Pro 2, I do recommend that you're investing in that instructional video. It helps a lot, and so that's what I do. And like I said, I practice. I practice changing gears. I practice downshifting. I practice emergency stops by myself with my wife on the bike. You know, I try to create as much scenarios I can in a controlled environment before I go out into the streets. That's why I'm always scanning the area. And he teaches, when you're in motorcycle safety school, they teach you to scan the area, scan the vehicle, look at that driver, look at that front wheel. If it looks like it starts to roll, it's moving. That driver looks like he's ready to do something. Cover your brakes and your clutch, because he may or she may decide to take that chance. Say, hey, I can get out there before this motorcycle again. So I always practice to try to keep my skills tight. And like I said, when you're off for a while, for the riders that live in these southern states that can ride all year long, they have that advantage. But they also may be developing, just like riders who ride half of the year or something. We tend to develop our own form of riding, and we kind of push the good out and replace it with our own method, which may be bad. So I say to people, even though you've been riding for some time, it wouldn't hurt to take a defensive driver's course, an advanced rider's course, because it teaches you that much more control and more street knowledge, especially if you do the police rider's course. They would like for you to have at least 2 years of riding before you even take their class, because they really put you through the test. And I had a lot of fun on that one. I was just like, man. And I put the guards on my highway bars, because I knew I probably would be scraping them the bars up or dropping it or something. But I actually did pretty good. What people don't realize is when you're driving slow, this is on a sports bike or a cruiser or the dual purpose bikes, that rear brake acts like a stabilizer to keep you like a neutral balance. So I did pretty well in that, and I continue to train, because hey, my life is out here, and I want to come home safe. So I asked that question to you guys. Do you practice? Do you take advanced riders classes as well? I feel like something's on my face here. Do you take advanced riders classes as well to keep your skill tight? Or once you got your license and your bike, you just said, I'm my own teacher and I'll learn with the world? Well, that's it. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful day. The sky's clearing up. Beautiful mountain over there. And I'm going to do a little bit more riding. This is Crazy Cool New Yorker coming at you. And as always, ride what you love and love what you ride. Thank you.